Thank you, Dan. Good evening once again. And it takes something to really get Paul Lambert energised, but his time as Ipswich manager so far certainly seems to have done that, and he's really played a very smart PR game this week by getting the fans down to the training ground. Club legends have been there as well, but of course now Ipswich Town need points on the field. Only one win in 17 games so far this season, 5 points adrift of the rest. They are a side who have all the trappings of a Premier League club, but at the moment, unless things change drastically, they could be playing in the lower divisions next season for the first time since 1957. Of course, West Bromwich Albion have ambitions at the other end of the table, and they are among a clutch of clubs who believe they should be back at the highest level next season. Of course, the squad was trimmed following relegation, but Darren Moore has been able to develop a team with real strength in depth, as we've been saying, but it's been a lack of consistency in recent weeks which has really seen them drop off the pace. They were magnificent in that 4-1 win over Leeds before the international break, but before then only 1 point in 12. And really, Sam Parkin, you look at Middlesbrough, they're at the top because they're efficient and they're consistent. West Brom are at the top because they can be brilliant, but on other days they can really drop a level, and it's getting the latter part of that right which could be the key thing between now and the end of the season.
Definitely getting that balance between being very fluid and flamboyant going one way and also getting a little bit more solidity, and I think that's been why the supporters have been a little bit unhappy in recent times. Obviously not last time out, but there's been defensively, there's been a few woes. That's been their Achilles heel, and hopefully this little switch that's come about in the last 2 weeks or so will mean that they're going to be very consistent for here on in, and be realistic contenders to get one of those automatic spots.
And looking at Ipswich, you look at their squad, we talk about strength and depth for West Bromwich Albion. The Ipswich squad, it just looks bloated.
Yeah, I mean, some very talented young players that unfortunately have been missing this season with injuries, and some talented boys out there tonight though. Chalobah, a player that I've seen a great deal of in Premier League 2 football, playing a slightly unorthodox role for him this season. I'm understanding that he's slightly more advanced as a midfielder now. I know him more as a central defender or a defensive midfielder. And Downs as well, player I'm really looking forward to seeing. A confidence player that at the moment I think Paul Lambert has given him that real trust. He's been taking the set pieces, he's been dominating games from midfield, so within this really limp and dour start to the season, there's still some very technical boys out there, some good players, and hopefully they'll have that energy from the off that we've spoken about, a support that's energised, Paul Lambert's brought to the party, and I'm sure they'll get a reaction tonight.
Well, Ipswich slashed the tickets for this game. Only a tenner to get in for adults, and the locals have responded. It's a big crowd inside Portman Road. They got 15,000 here for the previous home game, nearer 25,000 here tonight as Ipswich get the game underway, and the footballing weekend is underway here on the TalkSport network and on the home of the EFL, TalkSport 2. Ipswich Town in their blue shirts, white sleeves, white shorts and blue socks, and West Bromwich Albion in their retro away kit of green and yellow stripes with green shorts and green socks. And Ipswich are caught offside in the opening 15 seconds or so, and from the free kick West Brom will try and build, playing towards the Sir Bobby Robson stand away to our left hand side in the first half. And now Hegazi has time to size up his options and find Gibbs. It's a first time ball forward from him, looking for Harvey Barnes, but overhit and behind for a goal kick to Ipswich Town. Only one win so far this season, and they've gone 10 games without a league victory here at Portman Road. In contrast, West Bromwich Albion have been thundering in the goals at one end and leaking them at the other. 37 goals scored, 25 against, as Bielkowski takes a chance on this near side. quickly closed down by Robson Kanu. As a result, it's a hurried clearance, and it will be a throw into Ipswich on this near side.
Yeah, you can see how Ipswich are going to set up straight away. It's going to be that 4-3-3, and interestingly, the two centre-halves splitting. Bielkowski opting to roll out to one of them. The two full-backs pushing right on and skews the deepest line midfield play. He's going to drop in between those two centre-halves and try and get on the ball. So, it's little subtle changes, I think, that Paul Lambert's already introduced in his short tenure at the club.
Roberts challenging for a high ball for Ipswich, but West Brom will work it back to their goalkeeper, Sam Johnston, who clears downfield, and it's flicked on wide on the far side by Robson Kanu. Looking for Phillips, but it will eventually go out of play, and it will be a throw-in for Ipswich. A reminder of their side again: Bielkowski in goal, Spence, Chambers, Pennington and Knudsen, Edwards, Scoos, Chalabar and Downs, Roberts and Sears. West Brom, Johnston in goal, Adebayo, Dawson, Hegazi and Gibbs, Livermore and Morrison, Phillips, Barnes, Robson Kanu and Rodriguez. And there are around 1,000 West Bromwich Albion fans who've made what is often a difficult journey from the Black Country to Suffolk on a Friday evening, but they are here in their numbers because wherever West Bromwich Albion have played so far this season, goals have been guaranteed. 8 wins, 4 draws and 5 defeats overall. They've won at both Preston North End and Norwich, and they've won the ball now, and it's Rodriguez coming forward wide towards the far side, and Phillips. Robson Kanu waits in the centre, but the cross is deflected behind off Pennington for the first corner to West Brom.
Yeah, Downs just over elaborate in the middle of the park, didn't know what was around him. Livermore snapping into the challenge, and as soon as that happened, big overload for West Bromwich Albion. Robson Kanu on the far side, probably should have done better there, Nigel. Great opportunity to put in some quality.
And Phillips will take the corner out on the right. Barnes coming short, and both Dawson and Hegazi are forward. Every single Ipswich player is defending inside their penalty area, and being more solid has been one of the early requirements for Paul Lambert's team. And it's deep. Morrison wins the header, and it's flicked on and then flicked over inside the 6-yard area, and it was a decent opportunity for Rodriguez, but the header was too high.
Yeah, difficult one because there's not a great deal of pace on the ball. Morrison just keeping it alive, really, heading it back into a really congested area, and Rodriguez just trying to get the slightest of touch to send it goalwards. Unfortunately, too much on the ball.
Nearly 4 minutes played on TalkSport 2, 0-0 at Portman Road. These two sides meeting for the first time in 8 years, when Ipswich won a League Cup tie by a goal to 0 here. But they've not beaten West Bromwich Albion since New Year's Day 2008 in the league, and that's only 1 win in 9 games. But West Bromwich Albion have not kept a clean sheet here at Portman Road since 1980. They've conceded during their last 19 visits. And Hegazi has a free kick, which he quickly plays across the face of the penalty area to Dawson, who seemed to be on his way out of the Hawthorns at the start of the season. His long ball down the right-hand side was looking for Phillips, who applauds the intention, but it's beyond him and out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, Ipswich dropping back into midfield 5 really, and just leaving Roberts up by himself. Don't think they're going to charge after the ball. Maybe when they can get set a little bit higher up the pitch, that front 3 may look to close West Brom and try and dispossess them, but on that occasion just retreating, and West Brom, as we anticipated, a little bit more direct than maybe early part of the season. Dawson looking to find Phillips, who's marauding from deep as he was in that Leeds fixture. Just too much on the pass.
And Bartosz Bielkowski now back in the Ipswich side as the number 1. Of course, he was infamously dropped by Paul Hurst for the East Anglian derby here at the start of September, as Dawson drives a ball across the field for West Brom from right to left to pick out Gibbs on this near side. The early ball forward was searching for Harvey Barnes, but Spence does well to intercept, and now Edwards can bring it forward for Ipswich down their right into the body of Chalabar with that shock of peroxide hair draped off the side of his head, but the challenge comes in on him, and it will be a throw-in to Ipswich on this near side, their right. Nearly 6 minutes played, and it's goalless on TalkSport 2 in the Sky Bet Championship. The long throw down the line, looking for Roberts, beyond him, and out of play for a goal kick.
Paul Lambert already in his technical area, kicking every ball, the energy all over the place. Darren Moore just standing still, and Paul Lambert really enthusiastic about a couple of occasions where his team especially Roberts, has gone to close someone, hasn't won the ball, but it's forced West Brom into a hasty clearance into touch.
And 2 draws so far for Paul Lambert here against Preston when they finished the game facing an outfield player in goal, Paul Gallagher, who also scored the Preston equaliser, and then they went to Reading. And Paul Lambert says he'd never been in charge of a team who played better during the opening 45 minutes, but they eventually drew that game 2-2. As West Brom are penalised just inside the Ipswich half, and it will be a free kick to the home side. Of course, Paul Hurst was sacked after only 15 league games, and it always looked to be a gamble to bring in a lower division manager to follow somebody like Mick McCarthy, who had made Ipswich a solid, if not entirely exciting proposition during his time in charge. But there are many people around football outside of this city saying be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been not the start to the new campaign that anyone anticipated or hoped for here, and hopefully the damage isn't already too severe and they can recover from what has been a miserable start to the season. 5 points adrift, big huge month coming up, 7 games before the new year, need to start picking up some points.
Now Phillips on the far side looking to wriggle beyond the Dane, Knudsen, and Knudsen also has support from Downs, but it's bobbled through towards the edge of the penalty area, but James Morrison unable to control and has gone behind, and Bielkowski will have another opportunity to clear, yet to keep a clean sheet during his 9 appearances in the Ipswich goal so far this season. But it's significant, he's a big character inside the dressing room, and he's been speaking very positively about Paul Lambert this week.
Absolutely, and probably one of the reasons really why Paul Hurst is still not in a job, that high profile falling out, and Dean Gherkin was given an opportunity. He finds himself back out of the side. It's been a difficult spell in terms of those relationships with the more senior players who remain from Mick McCarthy's tenure. So yeah, positive noises that everyone seems to be a little bit more together even after only took a couple of weeks.
Well, there were 7 signings from the lower divisions made by Paul Hurst during the summer, and very few of those are currently involved in the first team. There are a couple of injuries, but others have been quickly deemed surplus to requirements at the moment. And one of the big loan signings, Jonathan Walters, returning back at Ipswich Town, is in a television studio tonight.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to be someone to galvanise these supporters, to give them a bit of more of a focal point in the centre of the pitch. Unfortunately, not been able to get out in an Ipswich too often, but still hope that the likes of Nolan could come good. Jackson amongst the goals midweek in an under-23 game, so you still think that there'd be an opportunity under Lambert. He will look at them, I'm sure, in depth before January, before making his decision, but it may be a case that a few will have to go out to make room for some to come in.
9 minutes played, Ipswich 0, West Bromwich Albion 0 on TalkSport 2 with Screwfix. And hurry, the Screwfix Black Friday event is live now, as Dawson clears long downfield, right-footed for West Brom, and that's going to be an interesting battle between Robson Kanu and Pennington, and on this occasion Pennington dragging Robson Kanu to the ground, and it will be a free kick to West Brom midway inside the Ipswich half.
Just got too tight, Pennington, awful position defensively. Robson Kanu knew that, was able to roll him. I think the ball was probably going to run through to Bielkowski. Definitely a foul. Clutched hold of his shirt. Early booking, he's going to be walking the tightrope now. Yeah,
yellow card for Pennington as well, with only 10 minutes played. A youngster, or relative youngster, on loan from Everton. He's been around a few clubs in recent years. Leeds United last season. And Phillips is over the free kick for West Brom. And once again, the whole Ipswich team is back defending. And it's delivered dangerously, and sliding in was Scoos. Lobs it high up in the air, returned into the box by Dawson, and then hammered clear, but it will come straight back. Quickly headed forward by Livermore. And a good ball wide by Adebayo to the far side. Phillips fishes it into the penalty area, looking for Robson Kanu. Both he and Pennington appeal for the decision as it goes behind, and the referee, Keith Stroud, has given the goal kick.
Wonderful defending. Cole Scoos is back in a really intelligent position there, because the whip on the ball, the pace on the ball from Phillips was outstanding. Looked like a West Brom player was going to be favourite, but good play from the Ipswich midfielder.
And the top of the table currently whisper it around here, but Norwich are top on 33 points, Middlesbrough 31, then Leeds on 30, Sheffield United on 30, and West Brom and Derby both on 28 points. And tomorrow on TalkSport 2, we're right across the promotion race with Rotherham Sheffield United at 12:30, followed by Brentford against Middlesbrough at 5:30. An early ball into the penalty area from Edwards is headed away by Hegazi at the near post, and it will be a throw-in on this near side for Ipswich, which will be taken by Jordan Spence, supported by Chalobah. Roberts makes the run towards the near post, and now a high cross into the penalty area. And Downs will try and bring the ball into control, and Knudsen fires the ball in from the left corner of the penalty area, and the Dane really caught hold of that, and it flew over the angle.
Yeah, there's not much of a physical presence in the 18-yard box for Ipswich. Jordan Spence putting the ball in, and Freddie Sears does well just to keep it alive, get something on the ball. Knudsen arriving, too tempting to turn down. Decent effort on his left foot, but off the target, and looks to be a problem, doesn't it? Defensively so physically strong, West Brom, and Edwards just slinging a ball in there really because he didn't have another option, but I'm not seeing that focal point. Roberts is very energetic, he's going to close people down, he's going to try and stretch the game, but in terms of getting someone in the 18-yard box who's going to go and attack things, it's clearly missing for Ipswich.
12 minutes played, 0-0. As West Brom come forward now with Harvey Barnes on loan from Leicester City, tries to thread it down the line, looking for the run outside and the support from Gibbs, but it's cleared away, and now Roberts with a poor ball in field for Ipswich, straight to Adebayo. Phillips now clips it on towards Robson Kanu on the edge of the penalty area, back towards Phillips down the right, looks to push and go beyond Knudsen, who then slides in, and the assistant on the far side has given the goal kick, and there is no way he could have known who that ball came off.
No, it looked like a corner even from up here. Phillips getting to the byline, and there's no way. You're right, the referee's assistant was blinded by the two players who slide into the ground. Looked like a corner.
Matchday Live 2 tomorrow has commentary of Sheffield United at Rotherham at 12:30, followed by Manchester United against Crystal Palace at 3 over on TalkSport. The big one, Spurs against Chelsea, is live with Laura Woods and the team from 5:30. Then on Sunday, full commentary on the second City derby from noon. Villa against Birmingham here on TalkSport 2. And Bournemouth against Arsenal is the commentary game in the Sunday exclusive from 1:30 on TalkSport. Now Gibbs on this near side, the left, infield towards Dawson. Adebayo, the early ball forward, looking for the run of Phillips, but it's cleared away by Peddington, long and high once again. Roberts was the target, but neither he or Sears unable to fasten onto it, and West Brom will try and win the ball back. 14 minutes played, neither goalkeeper has really had a shot to save so far, and it's difficult really, Sam, to establish the sort of style of play that Ipswich want.
Yeah, I mean, West Brom I don't think have started particularly well. Ipswich quite fortuitously actually by mistakes from West Brom players have got into a couple of great situations, and Roberts' quality on the ball has just let him down at the vital moment. And Paul Lambert's been bitterly disappointed. You can see him down there throwing his arms around because he's really wasteful. He could have just spread the play. Freddie Sears in all manner of space on the left hand side, didn't get the ball.
Chalobah's cross looking for Roberts. It's won back by Downs. Now Sears on the left side of the penalty area. Has Downs, the teenager, in support, but goes back towards Knudsen, level with the edge of the West Brom penalty area. His low cross in, though, is a scuffed effort, and Livermore can bring it clear now for West Brom. He finds Barnes on halfway. He turns infield beyond Spence. Excellent ball forward from him. Now Rodriguez, 25 yards from goal, jabs it to his right. Barnes with a low shot, right across the face of goal, and just wide.
Well, he's been a bit wasteful. Harvey Barnes in the opening exchanges here. His touch hasn't been that secure, but that was a brilliant little bit of interchange into Rodriguez. Doesn't stand and admire it. He's on his bike on the overlap, right hand side. Rodriguez feeds him in. Just unfortunately for West Brom, he scuffs his shot somewhat and just creeps past the far post, but much brighter.
And now Robson Kanu looks for a free kick and gets it. He just invited Knudsen into the challenge midway inside the Ipswich half, and Knudsen really bit on the opportunity, and it's another free kick in a dangerous area.
He's been bright. Robson Kanu, and just psychologically they'll know now, because he's rolled not only the centre-half Pennington but Knudsen on 2 occasions. He's been able to just let the ball run across him, taking it on his back foot. Really good play from the front player. You've got to be careful. We've already seen the whip and the pace that Phillips can put on the ball. Looks like Livermore may take this one.
And the stand behind the goal, which Bartosz Bielkowski is defending, is now pretty much a sellout, as is much of the rest of the stadium. But the old North Stand is the most vocal area of Portman Road, and there are plenty of flags and hoarse voices to our left already. Phillips over the free kick for West Brom, clipped in and headed away at the near post by Knudsen. Back towards Phillips again, a deeper ball in this time, but one bounce and behind for a goal kick.
Yep, poor on 2 occasions there, put in a testing delivery around 5 minutes or so ago, but those 2 wasteful, in a great position. And his position on the pitch is actually probably the most interesting thing from this new setup, because obviously synonymous with being a wide player really, and playing high on the right hand side and just giving them that drive. I think that power, if he can get hold of the ball, it's an added threat for West Brom, and something else for Ipswich to think about.
And the Robson Kanu into the path of Phillips again, wide on the right-hand side. Rodriguez makes the run into the centre, but the cross is beyond all of them from Phillips, and hands are very quickly put on head from Matt Phillips, because again he had a decent crossing opportunity and didn't make the most of it.
Well, he flashes one across. It's a decent area, but he's just going to have to hope that Rodriguez has gambled in front of the centre-halves and really breaking his neck to get in between the sticks. Unfortunately, just slightly on his heels, and the ball comes to nothing.
But there are so many options for Darren Moore in attack. Dwight Gale still waiting for his opportunity this evening on the bench. Oliver Burke is not involved in the 18 at the moment. And Wes Houlihan, who could be a creative force should he be needed, is also somebody who, as a former Norwich player, would have no motivation, or no lack of motivation, for coming on to do some damage here at Portman Road. As Knudsen concedes a throw-in on the far side. 18 minutes played on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL, and it's 0-0 here between the side who are currently bottom of the table, Ipswich 5 points adrift, and West Bromwich Albion looking to join Middlesbrough in second place on 31 points here this evening. Adebayo will take the throw-in. Hagazi and Dawson both make the run towards the near post. Dawson will challenge for it. Beaten to it though by Knudsen, and volley clear by Scouse, high up towards the halfway line. Adebayo will allow the ball to drift out of play, and it will be another throw-in for West Brom. And they look great in that kit, which really harks back to the 1970s, the yellow and green stripes. It was the same kit they wore when they faced Ipswich in the FA Cup semi-final back in 1978, when Ipswich won by 3 goals to 1 at Highbury, and you may remember John Weil clashing heads with Brian Talbot and finishing the game with his head swathed in bandages and blood all over his shirt, something which wouldn't be allowed these days. Now Pennington, and support from Flynn Downs, but goes short towards this near side, and Scouse. Chalobah back again towards Chambers, who is a player who has bridged a number of different eras at Ipswich Town as the captain in recent weeks. He was a senior man for Mick McCarthy, tried to hold things together under Paul Hurst, and now will try and move the team forward with Paul Lambert as manager, as Edwards plays it forward looking for Sears, but he just showed too much of that to Adebayo, who is very quick, and he's able to control and then volley clear.
That was a shame. Good play from Spence. Edwards helps it on, and I think Freddie Sears could have just collected that, could have taken it in. For some reason he allows it to bounce, hoping it's going to just elude the right back who's come across the cover, and just runs through to the goalkeeper. Another good situation that Ipswich haven't made the most of.
Roberts coming deep to try and win the ball. It's fed wide to the right for Ipswich and Chalobah, but Gwyn Edwards has then given the ball away, and Hagazi will just knock it long again, looking for Robson Kanu, who is beaten to it in the air by Pennington. But West Brom are winning much of the midfield battle at the moment, but then Morrison, having won the ball, just plays it straight out of play for a throw-in to Ipswich. 21 minutes played, And it's 0-0 here at Portman Road in the Sky Bet Championship. A match of significance at both ends of the table, and there are a number of those tomorrow, with Rotherham against Sheffield United, the opening game, live on TalkSport 2 at 12:30. Middlesbrough away at Brentford, that's the late game, as Morrison controls midway inside the West Brom half and quickly finds Phillips, has Robson-Kanu ahead of him, but it's Sears who comes back and makes the challenge, and for the third time in the game, and in about the same square yard of grass, Phillips has been fouled, and it's a free kick to West Brom.
And that's why James Morrison's in the team, to have a little bit more controlled possession when they can. West Brom, lovely little spot, picks out Phillips, he's got acres of space, and credit Freddie Sears, although he is the one that brings Phillips down. It's really good, unselfish play, getting back into a defensive position from his role high on the left-hand side to concede the foul.
Free kick, which Phillips is over once again. Livermore makes the run as the decoy towards the right-hand side, and Ipswich collectively very deep as it's flicked on by Dawson into the penalty area, and Hegazi with a volley 6 yards out sends it nearer the corner flag than the goal. Ipswich not dealing with the free kick, and Hegazi has missed a real sitter.
Got to take a touch, brilliant from Dawson, keeping it alive, heading it into Robson-Kanu. He does likewise. I think that maybe he was anticipating the referee's assistant flagging. Loads of time to take it down and pick a corner, flashed at it, instep of his right foot, well wide of the target.
Plenty of big games coming up tomorrow. Leeds at home to Bristol City. Preston against Blackburn is a Lancashire derby, with Blackburn on the fringes of the top six, and Derby go to Sheffield Wednesday, and Swansea will entertain the leaders Norwich, which should be a very attractive game at the Liberty Stadium, as Knudsen just knocks it out on the far side for a throw-in to West Brom. 23 minutes played on TalkSport 2, and a big crowd here at Portman Road after a raucous start, and now very quiet because they're seeing their side second best in many areas. Phillips fouling this time. Knudsen maybe used his hand to control the ball as well on the far side, and it's a free kick to the home team.
Yeah, it's difficult for them at the moment. The first 15 minutes was quite bright, but West Brom have just grown in this game, grown in confidence, and I think Phillips' position slightly right of that midfield. It's whether Scouse goes and engages him, or Downs gets a little bit closer proximity to him to stop him getting on the ball. But I think at the moment he's the one that's causing them the main problem. Spence
swings an across from the right-hand side, but it's overhit and behind Sam Johnston's goal, and it will be a goal kick to West Bromwich Albion. And this is the start of a very busy period for everybody in the Championship. So many games coming up between now and Boxing Day, as a paper aeroplane drifts into Sam Johnston's penalty area as he clears downfield. And it's gathered on the far side by Robson-Kanu. Looks to work the 1-2 with Harvey Barnes, but Knudsen is there to tidy up for the home side, and it's cleared downfield by Bielkowski. But at the moment, Jordan Roberts is looking like a player who has just come into a side from a lower level and is maybe just struggling to adapt, as Peddington does well to muscle Robson-Kanu off the ball and head it back towards Bielkowski.
Yeah, I think it's been his endeavour, and also the way that he's kept the ball alive and kept the ball for his team in the last couple of games, which has really impressed the supporters, and obviously Paul Lambert. But so far tonight, his touch has not been as assured as it was in the last couple of games.
Downs with a high ball into the penalty area for Ipswich, headed away by Dawson, but it's won back well by the home side. On this near side, the blue shirts now flooding forward. Chalabar with a high angle cross, which is met by Hegazi, good distance from him. Rodriguez is back to try and hold the ball up, and now West Brom will try and break, but Morrison runs into Robson-Kanu, and there's a comedy collision inside the centre circle, but it's West Brom who get the ball back. Now Livermore fighting Adebayo, and Livermore again just looking to provide the screen in front of the back four. And he picks out a pass now, and it's a good ball as well, because Gibbs has space to deliver a cross down the left-hand side, drifting beyond Spence, but the cross is behind everybody, but it will be recovered by Phillips. First time ball from him back into the penalty area. Gibbs heads it across the face of goal, and Rodriguez is there to score for West Bromwich Albion, and nobody at all reacted inside the home penalty area, but Rodriguez was razor sharp, and West Brom lead 1-0.
It's brilliant play from Kieran Gibbs because he puts the ball just into an area. I don't think he's picking anyone out in particular. Fortunately, Phillips round the far post, but he doesn't rest on his laurels. He moves towards that far post, and it's Kieran Gibbs who gets on the end of the delivery, heading it back across goal. Rodriguez, as you say, Nigel, razor sharp, done that all his career, across the front of the defenders, side foot, strong side foot into the roof of the net. Brilliantly crafted goal.
Jay Rodriguez with his 9th goal of the season. And it was statuesque defending. You look for some sort of movement, don't you? Somebody's got to attack the ball or react to the ball.
Yeah, I mean, you can understand Rodriguez getting across the centre half. It's difficult to defend that with that movement if the ball in's correct, but I think Gibbs allowed to deliver firstly when there was 2 Ipswich players there, and then just saunter into an area not picked up. You have to have pressure on that aerial challenge on the far post. Kieran Gibbs, outstanding player that he has been and is, should not be winning the ball on the far post.
27 minutes played. Ipswich Town 0, West Bromwich Albion 1, and a big crowd has now been silenced even more. Chambers with a long ball forward for the home side. Livermore into the feet of Robson Kanu, midway inside the Ipswich half. He neatly sidesteps Downs, first time of asking, but then Downs recovers to win the ball back, and it's a free kick eventually given for Robson Kanu's challenge on Downs, and it's a free kick. And Paul Lambert here has a real problem to solve because his team do not look to have any real creativity at the moment, and they trail at home. And when you play on a Friday night, it's a great time to win because it sets you up for the weekend to see how everybody else reacts. But if you lose and you're down at the bottom, it's then a very nervous Saturday to see how far adrift you could be by the end of the day. A long way to go in this game as Pennington scoops it forward now for Ipswich. Headed forward though by Adebayo, and Knudsen rather slices the ball out under pressure from Phillips, and it will be a throw into West Brom on the far side. And as you say, Sam, Phillips is the key man because he's giving the West Brom the sort of balance that Ipswich can't cope with.
I think it's been very difficult for Ipswich to make any kind of headway. They look a little bit devoid of confidence and ideas going forward. They've not really got after West Brom when they've got the ball in defensive areas. I expected there to be a real press on, but they've actually just gone back and fed back into a 4-5-1, leaving Roberts really isolated up there, which has surprised me. I thought they'd be ever so energetic from the first whistle. If they run out of steam, that's when Paul Lambert can start to look at his bench, but I think tactically at the moment West Brom really in charge.
Rodriguez, the goal scorer, swings a good ball wide to the left hand side, and Gibbs is charging forward once again for West Brom. The yellow and green shirts flooding forward. Phillips now down the left hand side, infield towards Morrison, and it's clipped back in towards Phillips. Gibbs was almost in there, and I think Phillips maybe put him off there as he made the movement towards the ball, and as a result Gibbs unable to gather, but West Brom had overloaded, and once again Ipswich failed to react.
Yeah, I think Kieran Gibbs just anticipated that Phillips taking that down out of the sky, didn't make contact, and therefore Kieran Gibbs a little bit on his heels and the ball skipping off the surface to safety. But this is a big spell now, 5-10 minutes. Ipswich have really got to come back with something because West Brom dictating in all areas.
Now Livermore's long ball forward, taken down brilliantly by Rodriguez, and a lovely ball back in field, inches away from Robson Kanu. Good defending by Chambers to clear, but now it's given away by Knudsen. Straight to Phillips on the far side, but Ipswich being picked apart by West Brom every time they come forward now. Adebayo, but it's a poor ball from him. Straight to Flynn. Flynn quickly finds Sears down the left-hand side. Roberts makes the run ahead of him, but Roberts was all alone inside the penalty area, and all he could do was just bang the ball against the Ghazi, and it spins behind for Ipswich's first corner.
Well, some much-needed respite. Well done, Freddie Sears, just feeding in Roberts, and his shot charge done at the other end. Velvety touch from Rodriguez. It was almost too good, if that makes sense. His little reverse pass, because Robson Kanu just didn't anticipate what he was going to do, and he was a bit on his heels, and Pennington able to recover, but brilliant movement, touch, ability from Rodriguez.
And the corner is worked short to Knudsen, but the cross is charged down by Phillips, and West Brom will quickly clear, but it's won back by the home side. Now Knudsen finding Chalabar, and his ball in field doesn't find Scoos because he was tracking back and didn't anticipate the ball, and now West Brom will try and break again with Robson Kanu. Wide on the far side, supported infield by Harvey Barnes, who is challenged inside the penalty area by Downs, and the referee says Downs got the ball, and it was an all-or-nothing challenge really from Downs, and he got the job done, but it's quickly given away by the home side. Now Barnes again, wide on the right-hand side, has support from Robson Kanu, who initially spins away from the challenge of Pennington, but he recovers well. It's not long by Ipswich, and Higazi with a back pass, finding Johnston, and Johnston dealt with a difficult bobbling ball there with Roberts bearing down on him. But at the moment, this has the feel of an FA Cup tie, and West Brom with the Premier League team.
That was brilliant movement from Roberts for Ipswich, just came short and spun in behind Higazi, and in the end he was just able to recover. But yeah, West Brom, I mean, they're electric, the front three. They had a really quiet first 10-15 minutes, and now I think that position that Robson Kanu is playing suits him down to the ground. It's really elusive, hard for them to pick up. It's the centre half. Pennington, does he go and pick him up, or Knudsen, he's coming in field to try and get closer to him, but quite two-footed. He's wriggling away from challenges, bringing the other two into play. It's been a really impressive spell.
13 minutes to play in the first half on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL. West Brom leading Ipswich by 1-0. And at the moment, Ipswich are rather hanging on to simply remain in this game by their fingertips. Scoos, wide to the right-hand side, and Chalabar. And here is Spence, the early ball infield again, looking for the run of Edwards, but Edwards very quickly challenged, and the final touch was off the Welshman, and it will be a throw into West Brom on this near side. You're listening to West Brom leading at Ipswich by 1-0 on TalkSport 2 with Screwfix, proud partners of the EFL. Search Screwfix Black Friday or visit your local store today. And Ipswich have had more possession so far, 53%, but West Brom have had 4 shots to 2, and really it's a surprise they've only had 4.
Yeah, I heard someone talking about the possession stats in the lead up to this game and touched on it a few times. West Brom have those real ball carriers, and obviously the possession's done on the passes, but they've got a number of players that can really drive them up the pitch on the ball, and you don't really counter that in when you're talking about possession. So I think West Brom in all areas really have been in charge, apart from that first 10 minutes or so.
And in terms of creative possession, if such a stat exists, it's 100% in West Brom's favour. Yeah,
the majority of ball that Ipswich have had is probably in between the goalkeeper and the 2 centre-halves. They've kind of run out of ideas as they've come forward. It's been difficult to get either Edwards or Sears into the game, and as we've touched on a number of occasions, Roberts really up against it. Against those 2 statuesque physical centre-halves, he's been unable to make any kind of imprint in the game.
Well, they do have Caden Jackson on the bench following injury, and as Sam was saying earlier, he scored a hat-trick in a behind closed doors game earlier this week. Ellis Harrison, the other big money signing from the lower divisions at Bristol Rovers, is unavailable due to injury. He's yet to score for Ipswich, but it just shows that the job that whoever's in charge is facing, because Waghorn and Garner were sold and they've been replaced with 2 lower division strikers who've done well, but it's a step up, and you know that. You've been at that level.
Yeah, definitely, and it was a tough hand that he was dealt, wasn't he, Paul Hurst, losing those players, and Webster defensively to Bristol City. But yeah, clearly Waghorn and Garner in a side like this, his energy,
and McGoldrick as well. Yeah,
I mean, but that energy that Garner brings, the way he occupies people, I think they're kind of crying out for that type of player at the moment, and someone who can get across people in the 18-yard box. But I think they're going to be heavily reliant on the next month or so on some of these young players. I know that they really like Bishop. He's been a little bit injury prone in his first couple of seasons. Lancaster's someone that's they're really hopeful for, a wide forward, and obviously Dazelle getting England recognition in the early part of his career, just back to fitness after a really good couple of spells.
And Dazelle, Bishop and Lancester all on the bench here this evening as Edwards comes forward now, wide towards the run of Jordan Roberts down the right-hand side. He had support from Spence. Here is Scoos, a high diagonal ball from him, finds Knudsen down the left. 35 minutes played at Portman Road on TalkSport 2. Ipswich 0, West Bromwich Albion 1 the score. Jay Rodriguez with the only goal so far. Now Edwards finding Chalabar and Spence on the overlap. It's a decent cross from the right-hand side, but everybody was sucked towards the ball. But here is Knudsen, quickly returning to the area. Roberts was shaping for the header, nodded clear by Hagazi. Chalabar, square again towards Spence, who is just nudged over on this near side, and it will be a free kick to Ipswich Town. And the challenge from Jay Rodriguez, a real forwards tackle, level with the edge of his own penalty area.
Yeah, just a bit over exuberant there. Jay Rodriguez steaming into Jordan Spence, and a good opportunity now. Wide area, yes, but we've got those central defenders, a little bit more height, a bit more of a presence. Let's hope that either Knudsen or Downs can put in fantastic delivery.
Well, Downs or Knudsen will take it. It's Knudsen down the line for Downs, who then has to check back and find Knudsen again, and it's low in towards the edge of the penalty area. And Sears finds Downs by the corner flag, and the high cross is eventually delivered and nodded clear by Hagazi. Chalabar goes for the volley. It's a complete air shot, but Chalabar is able to recover possession. A high ball back into the penalty area from him onto the head of Phillips, and West Brom will clear, but Robson Kanu is beaten to it by a hard-working Gwion Edwards, and it will be a throw-in on halfway, and Paul Lambert quickly applauds the efforts of the Welshman.
Well, yeah, getting back into their shape, but it's a complete waste almost, Nigel, from the set piece. In the end, Sears feeds Downs and he gets something into the area, but should have just come in first time from Knudsen on that left foot, swinging it in. He's got that quality. A wasted journey upfield for the two central defenders.
But Darren Moore will want the second goal here, because his side are very much in control, leading here by a goal to nil, but the way they defend, they always give you a chance. Here is Rodriguez picking out Barnes, a lovely first-time ball from him back towards Morrison, who tried to play the reverse ball back into the penalty area for Barnes, and Morrison was frustrated as soon as he hit it. He knew it was overhit, and the ball just bobbles behind for a goal kick.
Great movement again. Rodriguez involved. Morrison with the little ball slipped down the side for Harvey Barnes and just skipping off the surface. Unfortunate not to get another delivery into the area.
And don't forget, day 2 of the third test in Colombo, on the air exclusively to TalkSport 2 from 4 a.m. tomorrow. And following the cricket, we have Matchday Live 2, 2 commentaries back to back. Rotherham against Sheffield United at 12:30, Manchester United against Crystal Palace at 3, with Spurs against Chelsea over on TalkSport at 5:30. But on Sunday, following the cricket at noon, it's Villa against Birmingham. Now, Robson Kanu coming forward down the right-hand side, skips away from a couple of challenges and off balance. The left-footed effort was high and wide.
Yeah, they're so quick to break, but Ipswich really poor on the ball again, just presenting the ball back to the visitors. Great ball from Rodriguez, sees that movement earlier from Robson Kanu and trying to engineer it infield onto his left boot, but fortunately for Ipswich doesn't get his angles right and well wide of the target. But they're breaking so quickly, so much rotation in the West Brom play and real pace on the counter.
West Brom, the top scorers in the Championship, now 38 goals, the most at this stage in a Championship season since Southampton back in 2011, and they went on to earn promotion. And now Barnes has been caught in the challenge by Spence on this near side, but the referee saw no foul, and Pennington will have to judge the bounce of the ball eventually and played all the way back towards Bilkowski. Almost played Chambers into trouble, but he did well to sidestep Barnes, and Chalabar's ball down the line hits Rodriguez, and it will be a throw-in to Ipswich on this near side. But at the moment they are running incredibly hard to stand still.
Yeah, Chambers did well actually to manoeuvre himself out of a really tough spot that his goalkeeper put him in, and it's a bit of an effort, isn't it, to just get it into that middle third for Ipswich. That not too many players look like they want to present themselves and make the angle to receive the ball for the centre halves. It's all very well wanting to play out, but you've got to have those players further up the pitch that are willing to take it under pressure.
Now Roberts coming short, finding Spence, and clipped down the line for Sears, and Dawson does well just to get his body between Sears and the ball and nod it back towards Sam Johnston, who so far has had very little to do in the West Brom goal, and we have 4 minutes to play in the first half.
No, it's been a good away performance. The early energy has just kind of seeped out of the home players as their halves wore on. And that attacking trio grown in confidence, got a few more touches on the ball, and are looking much more of a threat than the opposition.
Now Robson Kanu on the far side invites the challenge from Pennington, who is on a yellow card, and it's a throw into West Brom, level with the edge of the Ipswich penalty area, down their right. And the home crowd doing their best to get behind their team. Portman Road is a terrific stadium still, a Premier League ground, holds around 30,000 and not too far away from capacity tonight, but so far it has been more of the same from the home side. The free kick has been awarded to them for a push inside the penalty area, but there's little prospect or little sign, Sam, of them getting back into the game with this personnel or this formation.
No, I have to agree, and it's the level of confidence that I'm seeing from the players look devoid of any, really. I'm clutching at who's done themselves justice in this first half. It's been a tough ask, really, to stay with the visiting players. They've been a lot more confident on the ball in terms of moving the ball around, and had a little bit extra in the final third, and that's ultimately what separates the side so far. A little bit more inventiveness for West Brom, and Ipswich just devoid of ideas as an attacking force.
3 minutes to play in the first half. West Brom lead 1-0, and it's been very comfortable for them. Thrown down the line by Knudsen, flicked on by Chalabar, and then quickly returned over the top by Dawson, and it's headed away on the far side by Pennington for a throw in to West Brom. And if they score a second goal before half time, you can't really make a case for Ipswich coming back into this game.
Very difficult. I think Paul Lambert will just be wanting to get in at 1-0 now, have some words, try and get the reaction in the opening 5-10 minutes of the second half, and then he will surely look to change either personnel or the shape of the team, do something to make West Brom have to defend a little bit more, have to think about things, because at the moment it's all been played in front of them and they're not even having to go and get that tight. The ball's just been presented to them at times because Ipswich have been so poor on the ball.
Well, the ominous thing for Ipswich is that they've only scored 4 goals in the second half of games so far this season, the lowest total in the Championship. The team with the most goals after half-time are West Brom. They've scored 28. And at the moment, they are the side who lead with 90 seconds to play before the break here. It's a bitterly cold night at Portman Road, and so far the home crowd have not had too much to warm them. Now Pennington has time and space to bring it forward and launches it wide towards the left-hand side. Sears is beaten to it by Adebayo, but it's quickly recovered by Downs, and now down the line from Knudsen to find Sears. Back towards Knudsen again, and his cross is deflected behind off Adebayo, and it's a corner for the home side.
Well, they tried to really push the fullbacks high in the last 10-15 minutes of this half. Sears and Edwards are going infield to try and get closer to Roberts, and on that occasion it did work. Sears getting the ball to Knudsen on the far side, and his delivery charged down. It's a clear tactic, but they've not been on the ball in that area enough.
And the corner scuffed into the near post, but it was left by Knudsen, and it almost worked. It's eventually scooped away, but the clearance could turn into a breakaway here for West Brom, and it's Barnes coming forward at speed. 3 players in support. Barnes will pick out the cross, and it's Rodriguez. Side foot finish from him. It's blocked by Chalabar, and that was a goal-saving challenge.
Yeah, big trouble. I think Jordan Spence it was that got done by Harvey Barnes.
Now Barnes again, finding Robson Kanu inside the penalty area, and the shot is deflected over the top by Pennington for a corner.
Yeah, I think the best chance is the initial one for Rodriguez, fed by Harvey Barnes. Brilliant play by the centre forward Roberts, back in a defensive position, a combination of him and Chalabar blocking the ball, and Robson Kanu with the second chance just deflected over the top. That's a big moment. I think if that goes 2-0, now we can almost wrap up, Nigel.
Well, it's a corner for West Brom on the far side as we tick towards the final moments of the first half here. West Brom leading 1-0, scenting a second. Phillips with the corner, and the bodies go tumbling inside the penalty area, and it's Adebayo who was fouling Edwards, and it's a free kick to Ipswich.
Yeah, just held my breath a little bit there. It looked like that might have been a penalty, but a referee deeming it to be a foul on Edwards rather than Adebayo.
Well, Ipswich in their 17th consecutive season in the Championship. They've had 3 playoff failures in that time, but at the moment they could end tomorrow well adrift at the bottom of the table unless things change here. And Roberts has been flagged offside. Well, the referee, I think, was about to change his decision, but he's now blown for the half-time whistle. And the atmosphere here is very muted because Ipswich have been given a lesson at times by West Bromwich Albion. Jay Rodriguez with the only goal so far. Ipswich with nothing in response really. And at half-time, it's Albion who lead by 1-0. Thank you, Dan. And both teams came out for the second half, and there was so little reaction from the home crowd. It really tells you about the state of mind currently inside Portman Road. It's a really big 45 minutes coming up. Paul Lambert yet to lose a game as Ipswich Town manager. He's done so much over the international break to try and build bridges with old players, the supporters, and also getting the team into the community to try and reconnect with the fans. But the bottom line is they are 5 points adrift and they need results on the field, and it's West Brom in their yellow and green who get the second half underway. Ipswich in the blue and white defending the Sir Alf Ramsey stand away to our right hand side. A huge up and under from Dawson, one bounce into the arms of Bielkowski, who was in the Ipswich goal behind Spence, Chambers, Pennington and Knudsen. Edwards, Scoos, Chalabar and Downs in midfield with Roberts and Sears up front. The West Brom team, Johnston in goal, Adebayo, Dawson, Hegazi and Gibbs, Livermore and Morrison in central midfield with Barnes and Phillips providing the width, and Robson Kanu alongside the goal scorer Rodriguez. And we were wondering at the start of the game, Sam, what defensive formation West Brom would play, but so far they've been under so little pressure it doesn't matter.
No, not been tested at all. You just worry about Adebayo pre-match, whether he just get sucked into coming in field because he's a natural centre-half. That's not been evident. He's held his position up against Sears as a full-back, as a natural full-back. He's looked very good in that first half, but I mean, if you're just going to sling balls in to the box, Roberts has got no chance up against Dawson and Hegazi. They've been so comfortable.
Well, Hegazi with a scuff clearance on the far side. It's a throw-in for Ipswich, which is taken quickly, but then Gwyn Edwards runs into Gibbs, and it will be a throw-in for Ipswich once again. About 10 yards from the corner flag on the far side in front of the cobbled stand here at Portman Road. The West Brom fans at the other end of that building, and I'll have a very good view of the goal that their team are attacking away to our right in the second half. And Barnes plays a long ball over the top now, looking for Robson Kanu, and it's into the arms of Bielkowski, wearing all orange, defending the Ipswich goal away to our right, and he quickly bowls it out almost a halfway to find Scoos. And now Knudsen, the early ball forward from Downs, looking for Sears, and in the end it's overhit, and it will be another goal kick for West Bromwich Albion. And Sam Johnston, the man who was signed from Manchester United, having been so impressive for Aston Villa last season in the Championship, he has not had a single shot to save so far, and we are 48 minutes into this game. And it's worth noting as well that West Brom have scored the most goals in the second half in the Championship so far this season. They've got 28, of course 6 of those came in one game, or one half, against Queen's Park Rangers. Ipswich have only scored 4 times since half-time in 18 Championship games. Bielkowski clips a clearance downfield, and it's flicked on by Downs, controlled by Scoos, over the top, looking for Roberts, looking to get in behind Hegazi, and Roberts does, and Hegazi recovers and deflects the shot behind for a corner.
Best moment of the game, you'd have to say, for the home side. Brilliant from Edwards, and Roberts on the shoulder of Hegazi. What a fantastic recovery from the West Brom defender. And Downs, I think, at the start of this second half, playing higher up, closer to Roberts. So Chalabar playing slightly deeper with Scoos, as maybe we anticipated, giving them a little bit more defensive now, but also getting someone closer.
And the corner driven, Roberts with a shot, and it's hacked away inside the 6-yard area by Gibbs, and Sears very close to turning that ball in. It's headed back into the penalty area by a West Brom player, Morrison, and Gibbs will now eventually clear. And on the halfway line, on the far side, Barnes has a chance to try and bring it forward, supported by Morrison, and it's back again towards Gibbs, and the corner was a deeper delivery this time, and the shot deflected very close to the West Brom goal.
Much better, Nigel. One good opportunity coming from Roberts, his intelligent running down the side, and there, a little bit fortunate, ball ricocheting around, and it falls at Roberts' feet, and he scuffs his finish, I think, into the ground, right-footed, and it cannons clear off the West Brom defender.
5 minutes played in the second half. West Brom leading 1-0. Jay Rodriguez with his 100th career goal, and his first one away from home since September. Nadarabayo with a hurry clearance on this near side, and it will be a throw-in to Ipswich. And they've started the second half with a whole lot more intent. Knudsen will take it on this near side. Scoos coming short, but it will be in his direction now. Back towards Knudsen, and now Scoos. Knudsen will try and deliver the cross in, and it's Phillips coming back to make the challenge, and it rebounds off him behind for a corner.
That's what we wanted. Much more of a game. Only the opening few minutes, but Ipswich starting on the front foot. And just a couple of little tactical tweaks, I think, very clever from Paul Lambert, getting Downs up closer to the central striker.
And now the corner from Sears, high into the penalty area, and again there's confusion. One West Brom player headed it against another, and then Chalobah with a shot from the edge of the penalty area straight at Johnston. He quickly bowls out to the other end, and breaking his neck to try and get there as Robson Kanu, but it's Spence who does well to find his goalkeeper.
Could have gone anywhere. Fortunately for West Brom, it fell at one of their defenders' feet, and in the end Chalobah's strike choked a little bit into the ground. Chambers jumping over it. Sam Johnson clever to react and just grasp it.
But the home crowd are back in the game. 15 minutes played. West Brom lead 1-0. Knudsen all the way back towards Paddington. And he thought about the early ball forward, but instead goes square to his captain Luke Chambers. Chambers with the high ball forward, wide to the left-hand side. Knudsen will gather, and it's down the line for Sears. Sears has Downs and Roberts waiting inside the penalty area, but it's the third corner of the second half for the home side, conceded by Dawson.
Yeah, just more blue and white shirts closer to the West Bromwich Albion goal. There's more options. All of a sudden, people taking a risk, getting in the 18-yard box. Great start to the second half.
And you can hear the volume turning up around Portman Road. Downs with the corner, high to the far post. Nodded away well by Dawson, good distance. It's recovered by Edwards. Was he fouled by Phillips? He was. A barge in the back. The West Brom bench not impressed, and it's taken quickly. Pennington's right foot shot. Well struck, but always going wide.
Yeah, nice quick free kick from Knudsen. I'm glad the referee waved that on. And Pennington, I'm sure he's not known for his goal scoring exploits, chokes it a little bit of a dipper towards the far post and just beyond the far post, but incredible the difference in the atmosphere. It's few players taking one or two more risks, and I think it's a big 15 minutes that Paul Lambert's clearly had with the players, and he's got the reaction that he wanted.
And Darren Moore now has to assess a performance in which his team are under pressure. 7 minutes into the second half, Paddington has gone down, and there was a clash between Paddington and Robson Kanu, and the referee Keith Stroud is just having a word with both. The free kick has been given to the home side, about 15 yards inside their own half. West Brom leading by a goal to nil, but Ipswich have been the better side since half-time. Cole Scoos is over the free kick, and it's short towards Pennington, and back towards Scoos again. A high diagonal ball from him, wide to the far side, looking for Edwards, cleared as far as Spence, who was trying to clip the ball down the channel for Edwards to chase onto, but it's overhit and it's gone behind for a goal kick.
Which needs to take it in, Jordan Spence. Crowd are with them on top of West Brom in the opening exchanges of the second half, and just a little bit anxious, as he has been all night there, just trying to poke it down the channel. Too much pace on the ball, take a touch, pass it to a blue and white shirt, and West Brom can't get out again.
Johnston clears downfield, headed forward by Knudsen on this near side, and it will be a throw-in to West Bromwich Albion, who have been known for their goal scoring so far this season. They've scored 4 or more goals in a game 5 times already. But of course they are susceptible to conceding at the back as well. Of course it was 0-0 at half-time in their most recent league game, and then they really blitzed Leeds to win 4-1 in the second half. Looking for something similar here. Barnes coming forward down the left-hand side, cuts in field and runs into Chalobah, who clears, and then Roberts makes it difficult for Morrison to slide in with the challenge, and it squirts out of play, and it will be a throw-in for West Brom on the far side, almost midway inside the Ipswich half, down the West Brom left, and it's looped forward by Gibbs, headed away by Spence, then flicked on by Morrison. Livermore tangling with Downs, but Hegazi will gather, and Ipswich have had 70% of the possession so far in the second half, but West Brom have given the ball away cheaply again as it's swept wide to the far side by Dawson and straight out of play for a throw-in.
Well, they have more fight about them, Nigel. They look more confident already. I think tactically the 2 midfield players now, Chalobah and Scouse, can just take care of Phillips and Morrison, and young Finn Downs playing in a slightly higher position now. He can just occupy Livermore, and they're going man for man. I think they've got a bit more of a problem than they had in the first half now.
And now a back pass, almost interesting. Robson Kanu right down the centre, but it's shepherded back by Chambers towards his goalkeeper Bielkowski, but the long ball down the line left hand side for Ipswich from Knudsen, looking for Sears, is cut out by Adebayo, and now Phillips comes forward for West Brom, clips a high ball into the penalty area, it finds Barnes at the far post, and it strikes the near post and goes behind for a goal kick, and West Brom inches away from a second goal.
Brilliant wing play from Matt Phillips, does Pennington all ends up, just pokes it round the side of him, gallops onto it, delivery into a dangerous area, and Barnes will be disappointed, I think, on the far post, doesn't get it across the goalkeeper and just clips the outside of the near post. Another good opportunity after being under the cosh to get themselves that second goal.
56 minutes played. West Bromwich Albion lead by a goal to 0, but Ipswich coming forward again. Roberts looking for the free kick as he tangles with Livermore, but nothing given, and it's cleared away by West Brom, but now quickly returned by Chambers, and Roberts will patrol the channel down the right hand side, and he's flagged offside.
Yeah, shame. It's the right run though. He can afford to be a little bit more, I wouldn't say selective, he can actually just make those wide runs a little bit more now. He can vacate the central position. Now they've got Downs roaming in around there. He can stay central and try and pick up any balls that go into the centre of the pitch. Roberts a willing runner, but yeah, it's been a problem getting it into him in that first half.
1 win, 8 draws and 8 defeats, the Ipswich record so far this season, and they failed to score in 7 of those 8 defeats, but now looking for the equalising goal here. Sears down the line for Knudsen, a first time ball in field, picks out Downs, he's looking for Roberts, but he was always outnumbered on the edge of the West Brom penalty area, but Scouse quickly wins it back, and now Chalobah driving towards the penalty area, fires it in right footed, always going across the face of goal and behind for a goal kick.
But this is what we needed in the first half. Look at the crowd reacting to that good play from Chalobah. Takes a touch, recognises he's got 10-15 yards of space, driving forward, and just screws his shot wide in the end. A little coming together with Kieran Gibbs, or is it Dawson? Maybe just put him off at the vital moment.
And Dawson is now down on the edge of the penalty area, and Keith Stroud, the referee, is not allowing the medical team on, and he's encouraging Dawson to get back to his feet, which he eventually does. 58 minutes played. It is Ipswich Town 0, West Bromwich Albion 1 on TalkSport 2 with Screwfix. And hurry, the Screwfix Black Friday event is live now. And Johnston will eventually take the goal kick. And he's still yet to really make a difficult save. He had to gather a shot from Chalobah into his body, but significantly, Bartosz Bielkowski has been a spectator for long spells in the second half so far. And now Hegazi takes a ride on Roberts, and the referee just had a look and has given the free kick to Ipswich, which Downs takes some way from the original foul.
Yeah, good play from Roberts, just backing in. Hegazi too eager to get over the top of him to make the challenge. Definite free kick, and exactly what Ipswich want. Momentum's with them.
free kick will now be taken by Scoos. And West Brom have had the opportunity to get all of their bodies back. Pennington with a high ball wide to the far side, nodded away by Gibbs, but regathered by Chalabar. Here is Spence now, swings the cross into the area. Roberts was rising for the header, but it's Agazi who gets the vital touch, and it will be a throw-in to Ipswich on this near side, 5 or 6 yards from the corner flag. Nearly an hour played at Portman Road. West Brom leading by a goal to nil, but Ipswich have been the better side since half-time. And Knudsen, on a very damp night, just using a towel to dry the ball. And it looks like the Dane will be winding up for a long throw here, hurled deep into the West Bromwich Albion penalty area. Not too much room on this near side, but he takes a run up, and now it's delivered low and flat and cleared away at the near post, and it's won back by Edwards, who then takes the long way around on the left-hand side, and his cross clipped into the near post is blocked by Livermore for another throw-in on this near side.
Yeah, Edwards nice and bright to the knockdown, first to react, keeping it alive again for Ipswich, and he's got some weapon, hasn't he, Knudsen, in terms of the way he hurls it into the 18-yard box, a little bit away from the target previously.
And now it's a deeper one now, flicked away at the near post. It's gathered by Roberts. And Roberts will need some support, goes all the way back to the halfway line, and Downs with nothing going on ahead of him, and pressurised by Harvey Barnes, will find Bilkowski. Ipswich need to capitalise on this period of ascendancy, but now a long ball downfield, rather aimless, goes straight out of play for a throw-in.
Just look a lot more positive in terms of the setup. Said it a few times already in this half, the amount of blue and white shirts right up there, pressing West Brom back. In the first half they stood off them, didn't take risks going forward, played into their hands somewhat, and West Brom had so much space in terms of attacking wise, where they could exploit Ipswich's back line. Completely different game now.
Ipswich with 5 shots so far in the second half, but only one of those on target. West Brom with the effort from Harvey Barnes, which came off the outside of the post. Now Chambers with a long ball forward. Hagazi does well to head the ball away under pressure from Roberts, but he just sensed that Ipswich have maybe sensed a weakness in Hagazi, and that the balls are always going towards his area of the field.
Yeah, I mean, down the sides he's got the pace, the athleticism, Roberts, to trouble him, as he did in the first minute or so of this second half. It was a great recovery from Hagazi, but yeah, he's not as composed as he was certainly in that first 45 minutes.
Rodriguez now with the ponytail on halfway, back towards Morrison. The early ball played forward from him, and Phillips was off and running, but it's Pennington who did well to get across and put the ball out of play on the far side for a throw-in. Taken quickly. Now Phillips down the left-hand side, plays it back towards Gibbs, who helped to set up the West Brom goal. Morrison now slides it towards the penalty area, but it's quickly cut out, and Chalabar can bring it forward now for the home side, but his ball wide towards the right-hand side, looking for Downs, was quickly cut out, and West Brom have it once again. Here is Morrison coming forward now, wide towards the left-hand side, and Barnes. 3 wait for the cross inside the penalty area. Barnes has support from Gibbs. And now Livermore into the path of Barnes again, and West Brom rather recovering their poise with some decent passing football here. Alarabayo finding Phillips in the central area. And now Gibbs down the line for Barnes, who looks to scoop beyond Spence and head towards the byline. He goes down, and the referee says goal kick.
Well, let's be pleased to have a few touches of the football, because not had any possession opening 15 minutes of the second half. It's been all Ipswich. Nice controlled little spell there from West Brom.
First change for the home side, and it's Teddy Bishop who comes on in a league game for the first time this season following injury, and it's the teenager Flynn Downs who comes off, and he's quickly enveloped in a bear hug by his manager Paul Lambert. Well, Bishop has only played half an hour as a sub in the Carabao Cup defeat at Exeter right at the start of the season, but now thrust into the action here in a game which Ipswich really can't afford to lose. But now they are defending. It's Barnes coming forward, and he was looking to take the inside route. He was showed inside by Chambers, and eventually the defender's able to clear, but Phillips working hard, wins it back now for West Brom, finds Rodriguez in a deeper position. It's sprayed wide to the left, looking for Phillips again, but Spence will just shepherd the ball out of play, and it's a goal kick.
Yeah, just a yard out with this pass there. Jay Rodriguez, good little bit of play from Phillips, going for the return and just overcooking it. I think it's like for like, isn't it, Bishop? On third downs, just playing in behind Robertson, really highly thought of here. I think his problem has just been injuries last few seasons. Nigel is a very good technical player, high hopes for him, and hopefully he can stay fit now.
Pennington, White and Knudsen on this near side, and forward towards Bishop. The ball down the line though doesn't find Roberts, and West Brom will clear. And once again they're flooding plenty of bodies forward towards the Ipswich goal. Phillips wide to the far side, the left, and Gibbs has support from Barnes, but back in field towards Phillips again as we bob and weave around the famous pillar here in the main stand at Portman Road, which blocks most of our view of the Ipswich half, as Rodriguez comes forward now. His low ball towards the edge of the penalty area is cleared by Pennington, but quickly recovered by Morrison. Rodriguez with a right-footed shot, and it's some way wide.
Yeah, they're well set there. Ipswich, plenty of blue and white shirts behind the ball. Jay Rodriguez unable to pick out a pass, takes it on himself. He's confident, good goal scoring form all season, well wide of the target, but a little bit of respite for West Bromwich Albion after being under the cosh start of this second half, starting to get a foothold once more in this game.
65 minutes played, and it's West Brom who lead 1-0. Don't forget, tomorrow from 4 a.m, the second day of the third test from Colombo, exclusively live on Talk Sport 2. Matchday Live 2 has Rotherham against Sheffield United commentary at 12:30 from the Championship. Then from the Premier League, it is Manchester United against Crystal Palace at 3. And Laura Woods and the team on Talk Sport will bring you Spurs against Chelsea live, a 5:30 kickoff. Then on Sunday, I'll be alongside Sean Derry at Villa Park for the second City derby at noon. And Bournemouth against Arsenal will be the commentary game from the Premier League in the Sunday exclusive with Sags from 1:30. As Pennington's long clearance forward will look for Roberts, and again there's a wrestling match between Roberts and Dawson some way off the ball, and the referee basically allows them to get on with things. And Johnston, some way outside his penalty area, will clear long downfield for West Brom, and it's not gathered by Barnes, who's had his moments in the game, but he can often fade as well very quickly.
Yeah, he's been very quiet in the second half, and Robson Carnu, after what he produced in the first half, he's been completely snuffed out, so credit Knudsen at left back, but the whole Ipswich rearguard have been much improved in this second half. As the more attacking players, it's been a much improved performance.
But now Morrison brings it forward. He finds Robson Carnu, right side of the penalty area. His cross is bobbled initially by Bielkowski, who then carried the ball behind for a corner before he recovered and tried to bowl the ball out. And having said that West Brom have been quiet in an attacking sense, that just shows how dangerous they can be.
Yeah, just ran out of pitch, didn't he, at the vital moment there, dragged it from his left to his right and couldn't wrap his right foot around it. Bielkowski makes a bit of a hash of it at the near post, but only concedes the corner.
And West Brom with an opportunity here to maybe put the game away as we just go past the midpoint of the second half. They lead Ipswich Town by 1-0, and it's Phillips who will take the corner down their right. High towards the far post, Dawson rising unchallenged, bobs it into the penalty. Bielkowski has lost it, and did it cross the line? Well, a free kick's been given, and Bielkowski's blushes are spared there by the referee because he dropped the ball under pressure inside the 6-yard area, and it was almost scrambled over the line.
Yeah, Chambers, cool as a cucumber, looked like it was going to creep over the goal line. He hooks it clear to safety. Referee's whistle already gone. Save any Ipswich defenders' blushes.
I don't think there was a foul there, just craning my neck to see the monitor that our television colleagues are using, and Bielkowski dropped the ball onto the head of a teammate. It then bounced towards goal, and it was cleared away by Chambers, who clearly didn't think there was a free kick. Bishop heads it forward for Ipswich, but it's intercepted by Livermore. But Robson Carnu unable to gather on the edge of the Ipswich penalty area, but the ball forward from the home side is cut out by Livermore again and helped out by Morrison. He quickly plays it wide to Adebayo down the right hand side. A high ball forward from him, controlled by Rodriguez on the edge of the penalty area, who finds Robson Kanu on the turn, and his left foot shot is kept up by Bielkowski, who initially was going the wrong way but then readjusted well.
Yeah, brilliant play from Rodriguez, keeping it alive in the final third, and Robson Kanu wiggling away from his marker, can't find either corner.
Roberts now down this near side, the left for Ipswich. High cross into the penalty area, looking for Sears at the near post, and Hegazi did just enough to put him off, but it's Roberts again now, who was onside down the left. A deeper cross from him this time, and the header from Edwards this time is too high.
Yeah, he does well to get something on it. Edwards is pulling around the far post in between Gibbs and Dawson. Centre forward Roberts finding himself high, wide on the left hand side. Good delivery. And unfortunately Edwards couldn't work Sam Johnson, but encouragement again for Ipswich, getting closer.
22,995 is the crowd inside Portman Road, with 1,073 supporting West Bromwich Albion. The biggest of the season here was for the East Anglian derby, when there was 25,500. Here's Rodriguez coming forward now with a chance to seal it, but a combination of Spence and Bielkowski deny him.
Direct from West Brom, the ball drops, and Ipswich all over the place defensively. A massive hole in between the two centre halves, and Rodriguez, once he's fed by Robson Kanu, has to finish. Takes an age to get his strike away. Credit Jordan Spence getting back in.
And now the ball is deflected behind of Chambers, and it will be another West Brom corner. And as we head towards the final 20 minutes here, they look like a side who have ridden out the storm.
Yeah, and that could prove to be a vital moment, a pivotal moment, if Ipswich are to get anything from this game. Rodriguez, the form he's been in, the player that he is, presented with a chance like that, should have just swept it past the goalkeeper.
Phillips will take the corner on the far side. Dawson makes the run towards the far post. He arrives on the end of it. So too does Adebayo, and his downward header bounces through the 6-yard area and up and onto the roof of the netting.
Another let off. Looked like Dawson was going to be favourite. Adebayo arriving just beyond him round the far post, heading it into the ground. Probably as you're coached as a youngster, but too much pace on the ball, taking it over the top onto the netting.
Bielkowski clears downfield. The home crowd doing their best to inspire their team here. West Brom leading 1-0, and if it stays like this, they will move level on points with Middlesbrough, 2 behind Norwich at the top of the table. And I have to say, the last time I was here was for the East Anglian derby at the start of September, and if you told me then Norwich would be top, I would have wondered what you've been drinking, because they were dreadful that day. They had a very average start to the season, but they found a way, and they've done more than that. They've been excellent at times.
A couple of goal scorers as well in there, Nigel. It doesn't half help, does it? Put those two, Rhodes and Pookie, in this Ipswich squad. I'm sure things will be looking a hell of a lot rosier.
Well, they used to have Rhodes and they got rid of him. Here's Bishop coming forward now. 18 minutes to play. Bishop with a right-footed shot into the body of Adebayo, and it's cleared away by Dawson long downfield. Now Pennington only finds Livermore, but it's regathered by Chalobah. Chalobah now looking to carry the fight to West Brom with another driving run forward, but it's blocked by Adebayo, and now the free kick conceded on halfway by Scoos, just dragging down Robson Kanu, and it's a free kick to West Brom.
Yeah, Chalobah's been much more impressive in this second half. Wasn't in the game at all in the first period, but he's had that drive. He's been playing forward, joining in with the front players, much improved, and that was the Robson Kanu in the first 45 minutes, rolling Scoos. Nice, secure touch, inventive play from him again, and winning the free kick for West Brom, and yeah, just wrestled back a little bit of control. And we had the Edwards header 3 or 4 minutes ago, but other than that, West Brom is very much in the game, and more of an even contest the last 5-10 minutes.
West Brom 17 minutes away from their first clean sheet at Portman Road since 1980, 20 games ago. Another side who have shook off their reputation as a yo-yo team. They had 8 successive seasons in the Premier League, but now looking to bounce back at the first attempt for the 3rd time in their history. And they had 7 changes of division in 9 seasons not too long ago, but the likes of Tony Pulis brought them stability, but this very much a new era as a high cross into the penalty area from Phillips on the far side is too close to Bielkowski. He now clears long downfield again, looking for Sears, and there's a claim mainly from the crowd that Sears was being hauled back by Adebayo, but the referee has given the free kick to West Brom. And there is going to be another change made by West Brom, and it just gives you an indication of their strength in depth. How Robson Kanu replaced by Dwight Gale.
Yeah, not had the same effect in the second half. Robson Kanu, very good, electric for 20 minutes, half an hour in that first half. Really suits that position, high on the right hand side, very two-footed, and I think he can be pleased with his evening's work again. And it's be interesting to see where Gale lines up, if he's going to be like for like on the right hand side, or maybe Jay Rodriguez will take up that berth.
Well, Gale has 9 goals so far this season, but only one of those has come away from the Hawthorns. 15 minutes to play on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL. And this game being brought to you with Screwfix, proud partners of the EFL. Search Screwfix Black Friday or visit your local store today. Spence heads it forward, controlled on the chest by Roberts, who has been anonymous for long spells in the second half. Now Sears breaks away from the challenge of Dawson, right hand side of the penalty area, knew the ball was going behind for a corner, had no support, so will take the flag kick.
Yeah, good play, just trying to ease out Dawson. Well, he did ease out Dawson. He was able to get something on the ball, had the option of maybe flashing it across the 6-yard box. Bishop was arriving and just opted to let it run out.
Bishop will take the corner, an outswinger low to the near post, controlled by Knudsen, back towards Bishop again, who tries to break into the penalty area. Edwards in support, and the two of them really make a mess of it, and West Brom will try and come away with the ball, and now it's Phillips over halfway, has Barnes and Gale in field, and Ipswich here caught out following a corner of their own. Still Phillips has support, and it's Gale right hand side of the penalty area, his first involvement in the game. Left foot shot from him, brilliantly taken by Dwight Gale, and his first involvement leads to a goal which surely clinches 3 points for West Bromwich Albion. Ipswich Town had a corner, they made a hash of it, and 10 seconds later the ball was in the back of their net. It has truly been a Black Friday for them. West Brom lead 2-0.
Yeah, hesitancy from 2 Ipswich players, and West Brom breaking so quickly. It's what they've done all evening really, Nigel, and Matt Phillips. He can turn defence into attack so quickly like that, driving run, slips it to the right hand side where Gale is, and he's just trying to architect it onto his left foot so he can get his strike away. Knudsen shows him too much space, doesn't need any invitation, drills it hard and true towards the near post, flies past the goalkeeper into the net. What an introduction.
Change is now being made by Paul Lambert. Caden Jackson and Jack Lancester are coming on, and it's Gwion Edwards and Jordan Roberts who go off, and Dwight Gale, his first touch was to control and his second touch was to find the back of the net, but really that epitomises the problems Ipswich have, because they had a corner.
Yeah, absolutely, and again it highlights how good Matt Phillips has been, I think, in this slightly withdrawn role, what he brings to the team because of his energy and his directness. But I think if you're being critical, Knudsen's probably got to show him down the outside away from goal. He knows how prolific he is, he knows that the type of player that Gale is, he's going to try and get a strike away. That's all that's in his mind. He's so single-minded when he gets in and around the 18-yard box. Let him shoot at your peril, and his first involvement ends up in being a goal.
2-0 to West Brom, and Ipswich heading for their 9th defeat of the season, and they will be at least 5 points adrift by the end of tomorrow, and they will be anxiously looking at other results. And Harvey Barnes, the player who's been credited with that goal, and now it's played forward again over the top. Neatly controlled on this near side. And now Knudsen. And it's a throw-in down this near side which is taken for Ipswich. And Sears will bring it forward now, clipped high into the penalty area, and it's cleared away by Hagazi. And Ipswich here look like a side whose race has really been run.
Yeah, I mean, a great start to the second half. Nigel showed a real change from that first 45 minutes when they were limping everything they did, but a real energy, forced a number of corners and free kicks. Unfortunately just couldn't get that goal, and now deflated the support and the team, given that they're now 2 goals behind, and a real uphill challenge now to try and salvage something from the game. But realistically, looks like West Brom are going to depart Suffolk with maximum points.
Scoos forward towards Sears and back now towards Pennington. Pennington with a high ball into the penalty area, and there's a player who goes down looking for a penalty, and the referee waves away any appeals. It was Jack Lancester, the 18-year-old, who was just being brought on.
Went down theatrically, but did look to be a little bit of a shove. Maybe a shout for a penalty. The referee not interested.
Played downfield by Johnston, and now flicked on by Adebayo, controlled by Gale, and back again towards Adebayo, who tries to play the early ball forward. It strikes Sears in the face and goes out of play for a throw to West Brom on this near side. And they're a team who have often found it difficult to grind out results so far this season, but they're heading for the sort of result here which looks comfortable, but for long spells in the second half it hasn't been.
No, it's definitely been a much improved Ipswich Town after the break. Little tactical tweak from Paul Lambert during the half-time, and much better. Just getting some more blue and white shirts further up the pitch, a little bit more attacking intent, I think, all around from Ipswich Town, and the fans reacted to that, didn't they? There was a real energy about Portman Road in the start of this second half, but obviously deflated now that second one's gone in for West Brom.
Sam Johnston will take the free kick just outside the West Brom penalty area, and it's looking for Gale. Phillips rises with Scoos, and it's straight out of play off the Dane's head for a throw-in, and Phillips will take it back towards Adebayo, and it's the West Brom fans on the far side who we can hear at the moment, and a crowd of just under 23,000 here tonight. Will very shortly be trudging off into a bitterly cold Suffolk evening. Bitterly disappointed as it's played forward again by Livermore, looking for Rodriguez, and it's cleared away down this near side by Knudsen, and now Phillips once again down the right hand side. Has support from Rodriguez again, and it's infield towards Morrison, who has shrugged off it by Chalabar, and Trevor Chalabar has been one of the pluses on a fairly grim night for Ipswich, and that's an excellent ball for him. And it's Caden Jackson who gathers down the left hand side, comes infield beyond Hagazi, and he goes for goal, and he drags it wide to the near post.
Yeah, really positive from the substitute again. Chalabar driving with the ball, this time picks out the perfect pass into the channel, and Jackson whistling a strike away, but unfortunately just missing the target. But I think ultimately there are going to be some positives. Paul Lambert clearly will look at that first 15-20 minutes of the second half and feel that he got a reaction from his side, and they caused West Brom a lot more problems than they had in the first 45 minutes, just from being a little bit more positive, a bit more on the front foot, obviously a little bit more of an attacking formation, having down slightly behind Roberts, something to build on possibly, which looked like it was going to be a really long evening, didn't it, at half time.
Now Phillips, excellent play from him. He was strong enough to wriggle between the challenge of Bishop and Scoos, and then he was just hauled down by the latter to win a free kick. And at the moment Ipswich just need to ensure they don't lose this by an increasing margin with 7 minutes to play on TalkSport 2.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Phillips has been a big player tonight from West Brom. From the first minute really, whistled a free kick in, didn't he, that they had to desperately clear, and his retention has been good, and whenever he's got space to stride into, needs no second invitation. He's been very good. Unfortunately, that's him in the book, isn't it?
Yep, he's just been booked. I can crane my neck around the pillar to see the yellow card being flourished by Keith Stroud for time wasting, because he left the free kick to Dawson, who just plays it long and straight out of play for a goal kick. But West Bromwich Albion will feel they've done a really good job here tonight, because it was important they followed up the 4-1 win over Leeds, and when you have the international break, players go away and maybe there's the risk of a lack of momentum, but they've been straight back at it here overall, as Bishop finds Caden Jackson, the big summer signing from Accrington Stanley, for a good deal of money for Ipswich, but only scored in the EFL Cup so far. And now the home side give the ball away again before Lancester tries to keep it in play, and Lancester has won it back on the far side, but his high ball in is then given away by Adebayo, and Jackson has scored. Caden Jackson with his first league goal for Ipswich. A dreadful back pass by Adebayo, and Jackson couldn't really miss, and it's 2-1, and there is still hope for Ipswich.
Yeah, real hope. Good play from the substitute Lancaster. As an inverted winger comes in field on his left foot, tries to play it into the central striker Jackson, and I think that's a touch. I don't think it's a back pass. Adebayo really sloppy on the ball, and it's a nice accomplished finish from the substitute.
And Ipswich needed something, they needed a lift, and now they've been given one. But now Barnes at the other end, looking to try and finish things off. Morrison with the cross. There was nobody inside the penalty area. The cross was behind Gale. It's regathered by Phillips, and we have 5 minutes to play, plus added time. And West Brom still haven't kept a clean sheet here since 1980. And they'll be very disappointed by the manner of that goal, because Adebayo was under no pressure whatsoever, and he presented it straight to Caden Jackson, a player who really needed a goal.
Yeah, the goalkeeper Sam Johnson going apoplectic. His back four there didn't look like Ipswich going to get anything for their efforts this evening, and a really poor individual error presenting Jackson with a really simple task around the penalty spot, but he slid it home nicely, and hopefully that will do his confidence the world of good. Amongst the goals for the under-23s in the week, and now one in the first team to add to his two previously. They need a centre forward to be in and around the 18-yard box to be getting the goals. Maybe he's that man.
Only a second goal in 17 games for Ipswich. Was a key man for Accrington as they got promotion to League One last season. Now Gibbs heads it forward for West Brom. Spence will gather, but just carries the ball out of play thanks to a heavy first touch, and it's a throw-in for West Brom on the far side with just over 3 minutes to play at Portman Road on TalkSport 2. Ipswich 1, West Brom 2 the scoreline. Cleared away on the far side by Spence, and then a free kick's been given to West Brom for a challenge by Lancester on Morrison. And you could make a case for West Brom deserving to win this game for their performance in the first half, but since half-time there has been a careless air to their play in general.
Yeah, not as slick as they were in the first period. Defensively been asked a lot more questions. The two centre-halves in particular have been in the game in this second half, and the first half could have played in their slippers, couldn't they? They're very comfortable, the pair of them, up against Roberts, but second period been much more of a game. They should probably deserve a goal for their efforts. They've had one or two more efforts in the second half.
Phillips with a high ball into the penalty area. Hagazi will challenge for it, but it's gathered by Bielkowski, who quickly bowls it out, and now Hagazi tries to get back to Knudsen, who knocks the early ball forward, and there's plenty of energy now about the home side, but Livermore will clear, and then Rodriguez just runs straight into Knudsen, and it will be a throw-in to Ipswich. And West Brom are about to make a change, and it's very much a defensive one, with James Morrison replaced by Gareth Barry. And the 37-year-old comes on for the final couple of minutes of normal time. as West Brom look to hold on to their lead here. Adarabioyo with the clearance onto the head of Scoos, who knocks it forward. Two West Brom players get in each other's way. It's Barry and Dawson, and now it's flipped wide to the far side for Spence to run onto. Lancester in support. Lancester drives it low into the penalty area, but nobody was able to gamble at the near post, and it's gathered by Johnston.
Didn't get the angle, did he, on the delivery? Manchester cutting in field onto that left foot. That's where the goal came from, but easy for Sam Johnson. A little bit of relief for West Brom after looked like they were in cruise control, having got the second. Could get the grandstand finish.
Adarabioyo with a long ball forward, headed away by Pennington, and it's controlled by Rodriguez. And now Barry just plays it back again, trying to take the sting out of the situation, supported by Adarabioyo. And now Dawson has been caught late by Sears. It was a silly challenge really by Freddie Sears, because Dawson was always going to get there first, and the referee has given West Brom a free kick, and it's just an opportunity to try and slow things down again.
Yeah, I thought he was caught there, Dawson. Sears just trying to keep the ball in the opposition's half, just a little bit too late into the challenge. Crashing into Dawson, think that was a foul.
Ghazi will take the free kick. Pumped wide to the far side, looking for Barnes. Headed away though by Spence. Now Chalabar clips a good ball forward, and Lancester will leave it for Bishop. Bishop wide to the far side. On again towards Spence with an opportunity to try and break into the penalty area, and the final touch was off Gibbs, and it's gone behind for a corner.
Good endeavour from Jordan Spence down on the far side. He's not had too much joy as an attacking full-back, but getting to the byline there, fortunate ricochet, gets the corner.
And they thought about the short one, but now is surely the time to get the ball high into the penalty area, and it's delivered towards Chambers, who nods it down. There's confusion there, but it's eventually put clear by Barnes. Scoos, the last man, launches it back high towards Chambers, who will have time to control on the chest, and now scoops a high diagonal towards the far post, and Johnston is able to challenge and claim.
That's a shame. Luke Chambers finding himself wide on the left hand side. Really intelligent ball. Cole Scoos just feeding it out there, far too close to the goalkeeper, and the momentum just dies a little bit, running out of time.
We are into added time at the end of this game. Johnston clears long downfield. He's looking for Gale, but it skips beyond him, and it's gathered by Bielkowski. I think the board showed 4 minutes of added time at the end of this game. Now Barry with a good ball forward to find Rodriguez, and Barnes down the left hand side has Gale sprinting down the centre, and a low ball played into the penalty area by Barnes, who had outstripped the cover on this occasion, but the low ball into the near post is scooped behind for a corner.
Yeah, brilliant fitness at this late stage of the game. Harvey Barnes driving beyond Chambers, getting to the byline, couldn't square it for Dwight Gale, who was lurking at the far post.
And West Brom taking their time over the corner here on the far side, and they may just try and entice a challenge from the Ipswich players by the corner flag, but instead it was played in field by Rodriguez, looking for Barnes. Barnes went down, doesn't get the free kick, and Ipswich will clear long downfield, but it's headed back over the top by Adarabioyo. And then Spence rather loops a header up rather than away, but Ipswich will gather, and there's a chance for Knudsen to bring it forward down the channel left hand side for Sears, and Sears is beaten to it by Dawson, but all Dawson can do is knock it behind for a corner.
Yeah, he did well, Freddie Sears, just to get a toe on the ball and mean it deflected off Dawson for the corner. Nice ball again from Knudsen down the side, done that on a number of occasions in this second period.
Lancester will take the corner. Bielkowski is forward, the goalkeeper, inside the penalty area, and it's headed away by Hegazi, knocked back in by Bishop. Hegazi is there again, and now Phillips will miskick the clearance, and Bishop will regather. Bielkowski stays there, and he will stay on the edge of the penalty area because Hegazi has fouled Bishop right on the edge of the box. It'll be a booking for the Egyptian, and what an opportunity here for Ipswich to try and apply more pressure right at the end.
Brilliant composure from Bishop, survived not one but two challenges. Really good play at this late stage of the game.
And it's all Ipswich at the end of this game. Can one final set piece prize a point? Bielkowski remaining forward, marked by Hagazi on the edge of the penalty area. The delivery here has to be good from Lanchester. Everybody back for West Bromwich Albion. And Lanchester could even go for goal, but there are so many targets to try and hit inside the area, and Keith Stroud, the referee, is just telling both sets of players to calm down. Lanchester has had a long time to think about this, and he drives it in. Oh, it's just wide. He went for goal, and a scrambling Johnston, grateful to see it go right behind, and then Johnston receives the ball back from the crowd and thumps it into the top tier of the stand, and he'll get a yellow card for time wasting as well.
Brilliant effort. Looked like it was in, didn't it? Just a yard or so wide of the post. It looked from this angle. A few clappers.
Yeah, cardboard clappers have been turned into paper aeroplanes, and they've been thrown onto the field in the direction of Sam Johnston, who now gets a yellow card, and he's the second West Brom player to be booked for time wasting, and that really was mindless from Sam Johnston, because if you hammer the ball into the top tier of a stand, when it's a goal kick, there's only one outcome. Johnston clears downfield, and that's it, and West Bromwich Albion have held on for a victory which will move them within 2 points of the leaders Norwich. But elsewhere in East Anglia, Ipswich Town remain 5 points adrift at the bottom of the table. It's a first defeat for Paul Lambert, and West Bromwich Albion in the end were just too good in the final third, and they've won this game by 2-1.